Okay, the regular scheduled meeting of Beckley Common Council for July 12th, 2022 will come to order. We'll stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, the normal announcement is for those participating either by phone or by WebEx or your computer. When the time comes for public comments, if you wish to make a comment, if you're calling on the phone, if you'll dial *3, that in essence raises your hand and recognizes you to speak. For no more than 3 minutes. If connected by a computer, click the hand icon on your participants panel, and that also recognizes you to speak during public comments. So with that, first order of business is reading and approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting dated June 28, 2022. I move to approve the minutes. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? June 28th was Mr. Fowler's birthday. We did sing happy birthday to him. However, I didn't see that captured in the minutes.
I was by.
Okay.
I approved him before he go out.
Very good.
Does that mean we have to sing to you since yours was last week?
I would rather not, but I do appreciate it. Next year. Okay, we have motion second to approve the minutes from June 28th. The meeting, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Aye. Next is a bid award for planning consulting services for CDBG and other community development programs. Let's see. I believe you weigh in on that.
Yes. We only received one bid, and bid met all the criteria. We have used something 2014. All the expenses were covered by administrative part of the grant award. So that's no charge of the city. Make a motion to accept this.
Okay. Have a motion second. Okay. Have a motion second. Good. For consulting services for CDBG is described by Cody. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, appointment of Lee Lethbridge to the Board of Commissioners for the Beckley Housing Authority. Lee is a former council person that has had over the years a good working relationship with people at the Beckley Housing Authority. He's been very involved over the years in guiding the youth in our community, and is, I think, a true public servant. And I would entertain a motion to appoint Lee to fill the expired and non-appointed term at his request for Pete Rico. So Lee will be stepping in for Pete. So, have a motion and second to approve Lee Lethbridge to the Beckley Housing Board. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next, first reading ordinance amending the City of Beckley Code, Chapter 4, Article 1. Mr. Fowler.
Yes, sir, Mayor. Tonight will be the first reading of this ordinance. I will read it by title. If approved tonight, it will be the second reading in 2 weeks with a public hearing. This is something we do anytime the West Virginia State Fire Commission revises the state building code. The city can adopt the revisions. That's what we are doing here. These revisions will go into effect on August 1st of this year. And the ordinance is titled Ordinance Reenacting and Amending City of Beckley Code, Chapter 4, Article 1, Sections 4-9, 4-9.1, 4-10, and 4-10.5. I will say that John Morgan worked with me on this quite a bit, and it's very helpful in preparing the revisions that will take place.
Very good. Thank you. I would entertain a motion to approve the ordinance described by Mr. Fowler on first reading, set for public hearing.
Second.
To accept the ordinance regarding the updating the building code. On favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
That's a discussion. What does this pertain to actually? Doesn't quite say on this.
The state, in February legislative session, they updated the building codes to the 2018 edition, and we have until August the 1st to adopt it, because our old building codes will be, yeah. It's
Yeah.
Okay.
It's something. Over the years, every 2-3 years.
used to, they did every 3 years, and then last couple of cycles, it's been hit or miss whether they've upgraded them or not, so.
Okay, any other comments or discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion second to adopt this ordinance on the first reading, set for public hearing, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Like sign. Motion carried. Next, first reading of an ordinance regarding the fire prevention code. Bob?
Yes, sir, Mayor, this also is similar to the state building code provisions. This is something we do anytime. State Fire Commission revises or amends the state fire code. That is what has occurred. This also will go into effect on August 1st. And I will read this by title in 2 weeks, which will be July 26th. We will have a public hearing and second reading of this ordinance. And this was just titled an ordinance to the City of Beckley Fire Prevention Code and amending Chapter 7 of the Code of the City of Beckley. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Fowl. Again, this is a requirement that that our code mirrors provisions in the state code and the state fire prevention code. We made a motion to accept, put this ordinance on the first reading, set for public hearing. Motion second, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion? Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Next, resolution honorarily naming Raleigh Avenue, Jerry Rose Lane. Mr. Fowl?
Yes, sir, Mayor. This is a resolution that the mayor discussed with council, I believe, at the last meeting. I did prepare this resolution subject to the remarks that were made at that meeting. I will read this resolution and then ask if council would entertain a motion to adopt it. This is titled Resolution, whereas Jerry Rose has served the City of Beckley for almost 60 years instructing young girls and boys in the art of dance through the Beckley Dance Theater located on Raleigh Avenue, and whereas Jerry Rose has traveled throughout the United States and foreign countries teaching and performing in many productions while serving as an ambassador for the art of dance, and whereas for over half a century Jerry Rose has been a positive influence in the lives of thousands of young people in southern West Virginia by teaching them discipline, responsibility, and other life lessons while serving as a positive role model through the Beckley Dance Theater. And whereas the City of Beckley desires to honor Mr. Rose for his many contributions to this city by honorably naming Raleigh Avenue the Jerry Rose Lane. Therefore, be it hereby resolved by the Common Council of the City of Beckley that Raleigh Avenue be given the honorary name of Jerry Rose Lane in recognition of Jerry Rose's contributions to the City of Beckley and the positive influence he has had on thousands of young people in this area. Be it further resolved that signage be placed on Raleigh Avenue signifying that Raleigh Avenue has been given the honorary title of Jerry Rose Lane. And this resolution is presented to council tonight for adoption. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Fowl. I think Mr. Fowl's resolution describes very well the contribution that Jerry Rose has made to our community over the years and the untold thousands of young people that he's influenced and taught not only the dance steps that Mr. Fowl always did so well. Do you still have your leotard, Bill, or did you?
I only wear it usually in December.
I think they're toe shoes, he calls them. Yeah,
Toe
shoes, yeah. Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the resolution as presented by Mr. Fowl.
So moved. And Mayor, this is training that lasts a lifetime that's on their website, and I'm honored to do that with with this council. This is very deserving.
Very good.
Jerry Rose has brought culture to the community beyond words.
He
That's
has.
true.
Yes.
We fought it tooth and nail, but he still brought culture here.
He did.
You know, so
We did. We
I'm,
fought.
I'm being facetious.
Obviously, Mayor, he has missed a few people.
So I made the motion and Kevin seconded.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the resolution? Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, any other discussion?
We've all contributed to his success.
Well, that's true. We had 3 daughters who danced there. They didn't become career dancers, but the idea of the discipline and the self-respect and everything else, that everything from the Nutcracker to other productions that he's had over the years. Sat through a lot of, what do they call them at Park Junior High? Not a
Recitals.
recitals, yeah,
Recitals.
yeah.
I never
Yeah.
missed one.
Yeah, never missed one, that's right. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Thank you. And Mr. Peplowski, I think I have a picture of how Charleston handled this, and maybe Public Works is familiar. Charleston had a sign about the same size as the signs we produce, but it was had a black background and kind of stainless steel lettering on it to distinguish it from the regular street naming, to show it was honorary. So I'll try to dig that picture out and might be an idea for us to use. Okay, next, receipt of bids for milling and paving of Dyer Avenue from 12th Street to Gadd Avenue, or Gadd Avenue to 12 Scott Avenue, and from Prince to 12th Street and 11th Street. So it appears that we have one bid, which I will now open. Careful, Tom. Oh, my.
I let my EMT expire. so
That's true.
I might be in trouble.
I'm being as careful as I can.
You need to take down the Public Works and sharpen for us.
It's true. We're almost there. Okay. This better be good. It's been a lot of work. Okay. Okay, it looks like all the specs are met, and the only bid for paving and milling from AAA paving and sealing, P.O. Box 975, Princeton. Total bid is $168,500. So this bid will be turned over to the 2 council persons at large, Mr. Trump and Jerry Stump, and probably Walter and some other lieutenants in the Public Works Department for review and possible award at some future council meeting. Thank you. Next, general fund revision. Mr. Trump?
Yes, sir. At the beginning of the new fiscal year, we are required by the state auditor's office to look at how we close the books and account for any extra income we anticipate and distribute it to expenses to make everything balanced. With the general fund, we're looking at a considerable increase in rents and royalties. A lot of it's due to the acquisition of the Pinecrest building. And so that's our $250,000 increase, and that was distributed among the various departments. One thing you may notice is there's a decrease from $1,040,000 in general government to $840,000, and that's because the energy savings contract, which the city had entered into several years ago. Jessica Chandler and I have been working on trying to pay that off early, and we accomplished that. So those expenses came out of general fund, so that obligation is now taken care of, and so we were able to reduce the amount in general government.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Trump on the general fund budget revision? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the budget revision as presented by Mr. Trump so that he can submit it to the state auditor.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve the general fund revision. All in favor, any other discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those like sign, that motion carries. Thank you. Next, coal severance revision. Mr. Trump?
Yes, sir. We've revised the amount for coal severance up to by about $15,000. It's because the volatility in the energy markets, coal's been up and down. We do anticipate an increase, and since there are limits to where you can spend coal severance money, the money was allocated to Parks and Recreation. So the $15,000 anticipated increase just goes to the Parks budget.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Trump on the coal severance revision? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the coal severance revision as described. Have a motion second to approve the coal severance revision. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed by a like sign. That motion carries also. Thank you. Moving down to old business, just a couple things. Talked with Mr. Stump this morning, and paving season for the city, both for the paving that we do and then the paving that we contract out, was to have started today. And I assume that it did before the weather. Did it, Walt? You know?
I think so.
Okay.
I know West Virginia paving is going to be over it, all Scott Evans.
Right. Yeah.
And I think they either did the Big Street or one of those over off of
Springdale.
yeah.
Probably, it was probably King. There's been a lot of utility work on King, so good. Good, yeah. The holdup this year was that 8 miles of 6 lanes that the Parkways Turnpike Commission had first dibs on with the asphalt plants to put the final coat on the on that 8-mile upgrade lane widening. So hopefully that's behind us now. The only other thing, Lizzie Watts, who was the first superintendent of the New River Gorge National Park and Preserve, is retiring, and there's a retirement recognition event at Black Night on August 11th. And if you'll keep that in the back of your mind, that would be nice to have representation there. I think I sent a note out today to council. So it looks like our auto fair begins on July 22nd, runs on the 22nd and 23rd. And then on July 20th at 1 o'clock at, I guess it's Jim Anderson's office, isn't it, Tom, on
Yes.
South Heber?
Yeah.
There's a dedication.
The water company.
Right. There's a dedication of a plaque for the formation of the first state police detachment in the city of Beckley. So that would be nice if you could attend that. Anything else from any member of council under old business?
Well, I've got a question I'd like to.
Sure.
I know we've been working on the Zens building to get fruits of labor in there and everything, but has there been a plan or anything about the parking lots across the street? We've got the one on Earwood that runs into the one on Neville Street, and, you know, like, make a pretty little park.
Yeah, we have really nice plans from Thrasher with green space.
Yes.
And really nice concrete. The problem has been, frankly, is that we're, for whatever reason, between Thrasher and, between Thrasher, primarily who we charge with designing stormwater drainage system for both of those lots. We haven't gotten that yet, and we really can't do anything until we get that. But Walt, can you give us an update on the status of?
I asked the other day, and so far sanitation doesn't have it.
Okay, yeah, but that's a problem, and we promised Fruits of Labor a certain number of spaces for their business parking, and then we'll certainly divvy up the balance of those spaces between monthly parking and perhaps some daily parking there. But one thing we will do, once we have the green light to follow the plans to get those lots properly finished, we'll take, I think, well, we're taking about 2 feet off the Beckley Water lot to make that lot a little wider. It's really tough getting in and out of there, so that'll be a side benefit of that.
Will all that link together like one large parking lot instead of like 3 little parking lots?
Initially, due to the difference in elevation, Thrasher says no. And then there's some unmovable Appalachian Power equipment there. And I talked to APCO many years ago about removing those, and they just about laughed me out of the building. They said, we just don't do that. So probably not at this stage. They'll probably remain 3 separate lots.
Because I know the school, like where the old federal building was, they were interested in renting or using some of that parking lot on that Deerwood corner.
And they still are. However, in the interim, they have struck a deal with First Baptist Church, which has a lot of parking behind the church along, what is that street? Alaska, yeah. Nathan, yeah. So I think some of the pressure's off of them, but we may still end up, they may still have an interest in some of those spots.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Sure. Anything else under old business? Anything under new business?
Mayor, I do have something.
All right.
Next Wednesday, July 20th, Mountaineer Food Bank will be at Epling Stadium. The truck will arrive from Braxton County at 10 a.m. with food distribution from 11 until 1. If anybody is able to give an hour or two to volunteer to help put the food in the cars, they typically bring 350 boxes of food, so there's a big assembly at Epling Stadium. So July 20th from 10 o'clock until 1.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Also on the 20th, there's going to be a remote worker ribbon cutting at Black Knight at 12:15 to welcome some folks who've signed up to become remote workers. So that's a good thing. Okay, anything else from any member of council under new business?
Mayor, just a quick compliment. I find myself calling law enforcement way more than I want to, just as an uptown property owner. Today, down below Sofer Electric on Fayette, I jumped in between 2 people fighting, with one female with somebody having their hand around her neck, and I contacted 911. And I was really shocked at how quickly they got there before I was shot or cut. But me jumping in between 2 people trying to kill one another, and they obviously do this every day, and they don't get enough appreciation from us or anyone for putting themselves in harm's way every day. But I'm just driving to Rotary, breaking up a fight, and thankfully they got there so quickly. I was still able to get to Rotary, and I wasn't stabbed or shot. But I think when we involve ourselves and speak up and try to do things to stop, especially domestic violence and violence against children and the elderly, it's very reminiscent on the fact that these are positions these men are asked to put themselves in every day, and it's such a shame that they don't get more appreciation for it. All of our Beckley employees are important, code enforcement, water, but if you do it one day and you do it one time, it really draws it into your mind of how much they put on the line.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Chief, any comments along those lines?
Well, like a flash over there.
grabbed her by the neck.
Yeah.
Chief, I have a question. It's not a hard question. When you decided to become a law enforcement officer, was there somebody that inspired you to have this career?
My dad, dad's been a law enforcement officer, 40-some years before he retired, so that's what inspired me.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Anything else from any member of council under new business? Amy, do we have anybody signed up for public comments? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Very good, we stand adjourned.